Today, 2 more autopsies are scheduled for victims in the plane crash that happened east of Clemson in South Carolina.
The crash killed 4 Warsaw men on their way to the Clemson Notre Dame game. Passenger Scott Bibler, as well as a counselor who worked at the Tippy Valley football coach, he died in the crash. So did the sprint car driver Tony Elliott. The crash also claimed the lives of father and son Charlie and Scott Smith. Charlie was an influential businessman, former bank executive and city councilman in Warsaw. Scott was an attorney in town.
Autopsy results for the Smiths were released yesterday. They say Charlie died from severe injuries from the impact of the crash. And according to the coroner in Oconee County, South Carolina, Scott Smith died from a fractured neck in that crash. And tonight, in the wake of this tragedy, Warsaw's Common Council will meet. Not only will they take up the traditional city business, but right now the council is preparing to set aside time to honor Charlie Smith.
Smith had been a Common Council member for 12 years. He has a long history of public service in Kosciuszko County, and WSBT-22's Kristen Bean is now joining us. Each council member, Kristen, is going to take time to remember him tonight.
That's right. The whole first part of the meeting will be dedicated to remembering Charlie Smith. The mayor says he's asked each council member to prepare a 1 to 2 minute presentation about him. Smith was piloting the plane when it crashed. He and his son and 2 others were heading to Notre Dame's football game in Clemson. Smith was an avid Notre Dame fan, but those who knew him and his fellow council members say he was much more than that. He was dedicated to the community, having served as a football coach decades ago and most recently serving as a leader in politics in the county.
He understood teamwork and winning and community, and exuded that at the bank and in his political realm this last 16 years. He's just been nothing but a great leader, great asset, and a wonderful representative of our community.
And Charlie was the kind of person that made you step up your game. So he always came prepared. He always had his questions ready. He was always really knowledgeable about the subjects. And so when he came in, it made us all step up our game. It made us all try to be better people and serve our community better because he was so well prepared. So he really led by example.
Charlie was also up for re-election next month. He was running unopposed on the ballot. Now his seat will have to be filled. The city will be looking to state election laws to govern how they go about filling that position in the coming days and weeks. In the studio, Kristen Bean, WSBT-22 News.
Kristen, thanks. We also now know the details for the funeral arrangements for the Smiths. As we mentioned, Charlie and Scott are father and son. Their visitation and memorial services will be together. Visitation is next Monday from 2 to 8 p.m. The dual funeral services will be the following day, Tuesday, the 13th at 10 a.m. Tributes on both days will be held at the Warsaw Community Church.
And later this week, a recovery team from the National Transportation Safety Board will remove the wreckage from the crash site on the South Carolina-Georgia line. They also plan to search a lake in the area for missing pieces of that plane.
People across Kosciuszko County are also finding ways that they can deal with the loss of these 4 men. During Sunday morning church services, many community members came together to pray. The congregation at Warsaw's Redeemer Lutheran Church leaned on each other for support.
We're still in shock. It's overwhelming to even think that this happened, and it's going to take a while for all of us to really grasp a hold of what's happened and then try to move forward.
And take a look at this. A tribute video has emerged online highlighting the life of Tony Elliott. He's the sprint car driver who was killed in the plane crash. The video shows memories of Elliott both on and off the racetrack. It was put together by a group that promotes and follows sprint car racing and caters to racing's online community.
Today, grief counselors and area pastors are expected to be back at Tippy Valley High School. At least 3 of the 4 men who died had ties to that school, especially Scott Bibler, who had worked as a counselor and a football coach at the school. Saturday morning, the counselors were on hand as well to help the community as the news spread about this plane crash.
And make sure to stay with WSBT-22 for the latest on this developing story. You can keep up with all the latest information on air and online by heading to WSBT.com.